New Delhi. And as you all know that this week is being celebrated as the Glaucoma Week worldwide. I'm going to share some tips and some facts about the glaucoma, now the disease that is called glaucoma. And now what is glaucoma? Glaucoma is a group of diseases where the optic nerve of the eye is damaged. And this optic nerve is a sensory cranial nerve which carries the sensations of vision from the eyes to the brain. And as you can see here in this picture, in glaucoma, the pressure inside the eye becomes high. We call it the intraocular pressure. And this high pressure will damage the nerve fibers of the optic nerve, and it produces a typical glaucomatous visual field loss. And finally, the progressive loss of vision and blindness. Unfortunately, this vision loss in glaucoma is irreversible. That means we cannot get back the vision, unlike in cataract surgery, where after the surgery, the patients, they recover and they restore the vision after the surgery. But glaucoma causes a total loss of vision if it is not treated in time. Now, we can compare the eye with a digital camera just to understand how this optic nerve works. So, as in a digital camera, when the picture is taken, the camera is then connected to a computer through a cable, and the image is downloaded here. Similarly, in our eyes, the image is formed on the retina, and after that, the signals of the vision, they are conveyed from the optic nerve to the brain. And in case this optic nerve gets damaged from here, or the nerve fibers, they are damaged because of glaucoma or some other cause, whatever vision, the signals we are receiving here on the retina, they cannot be transmitted to the brain. And that is how the patient becomes blind. Also, you must have heard about the intraocular pressure. That is the IOP. So what is this intraocular pressure? This eye is shaped like a globe. Our eye is like a globe, and it has the coatings, the walls of the eye, and inside there is empty space which is filled with some jelly or a liquid inside, and there is lens inside. So to maintain a proper shape and a proper functioning of the eye, we need to have some sort of pressure inside the eye so that this globe doesn't collapse. And this is called the intraocular pressure. And how does this intraocular pressure is formed? So the eye has a pump system which produces some fluid inside the eye, and this fluid is secreted from the an area called the ciliary processes, which is lies behind the iris, and the aqueous is secreted from here. Then it travels to the anterior part of the eye through the pupil, and after serving its function, this aqueous humor or the liquid inside the eye, it gets drained through the angle, and this angle is the junction between cornea and the iris. So here there are sieve-like channels or the filters from which the aqueous humor is drained, and it joins the circulation. So this is how the pressure inside the eye is maintained. Now you can think of the this entire system just like a sink, like a sink full of water. And on one hand, imagine there is a tap running, and water is entering into the sink from this side. And on the other hand, there is a drain or the sieve, and water is leaving from this side. So if the rate of formation or the entry of the liquid in the sink is equal to the rate of exit of the liquid, the sink will remain full of water all the time. And you can compare this with the eye, and it is just like this sink, but it is a closed container, and the aqueous is secreted from one side and it is getting drained from the other side. And there is a proper balance between these two actions so that the pressure is maintained. Now, to summarize, glaucoma is a disease where some patients have high intraocular pressure, as happens in most of the cases, but sometimes the pressures may remain normal also. Then there is damage to the optic nerve, which is the principal organ responsible for the sight. And Finally, the patients, they suffer from a loss of field of vision. They start seeing black patches or scotomas in the field of vision, and this leads to loss of vision and blindness in unattended cases or untreated cases. So what are the risk factors for glaucoma? If you are 40 years of age or more, or if you have some comorbidities like high blood pressure or diabetes mellitus or some other systemic diseases, then there are patients who are on steroids for long durations. And this steroid usage causes a high pressure inside the eye. And these patients are mostly those who have COPD or bronchial asthma or chronic bronchitis. And they take either systemic or inhalational steroids. Then there are patients who have arthritis. They may be receiving some injections of steroids in their joint areas. And other than that, there are patients who have ulcerative colitis or some other chronic disorders for which steroids are required. And similarly, patients who are using inhalational steroids, like, there are patients of sinusitis also, they may be using some nasal sprays. And then there are skin creams or ointments, which maybe you may be using for allergy or some skin disease or dermatitis. All these forms of steroids can cause a rise in intraocular pressure. So you must be aware of this thing and should contact your doctor regarding this and inform them about the usage of steroids. Then there are patients who have high refractive errors like high myopes and high hyperopes. These patients are more prone to get glaucoma. Then patients who have their optic nerves, which are actually not normally shaped, or they are more susceptible to glaucoma. Patients who have thin corneas. The corneal thickness actually plays a great role in deciding the treatment and the diagnosis of glaucoma. So those who have thin corneas, many times their eye pressures cannot be accurately measured, and they're mostly recorded as on the lower side. So their glaucoma may be missed. Then the patients who have a family history of glaucoma, this is quite important. And if there is any family member who gets glaucoma, the rest of the family members should get screened. And this means the blood relations. And patients who have a history of eye injury, be it shuttlecock injury, or many times we get patients who have while playing cricket, you can have an injury with the cricket ball. So these patients may, anytime in life, later on, even after 5 years, 10 years, you can get glaucoma because of that injury. And then finally, the high intraocular pressure. This is the most important risk factors. And this is the only risk factor which we can treat through the different types of treatment options. So next comes, what diagnostic tests do we require to diagnose you with glaucoma? So there are multiple things your doctor will advise you if he or she suspects that you have glaucoma. And first of all, we have to decide what type of glaucoma it is. So for that, we need to check your the angles. And this angle structure can be seen through a gonio lens. This is a small gonio lens. And they put some anesthetic drops on the eye and apply this gonio lens to check the anatomy of the angle. So the treatment may differ in open angle and the closed angle type of glaucoma. So this is the gonioscopy. Second is the intraocular pressure measurement, and here we use the Goldman's applanation tonometer, or the AT. This picture you can see the doctor is doing a tonometry on the patient's eye. Here a probe is used, which is applied on the anesthetized cornea, and we check for the pressure readings. And we believe, this AT or applanation tonometry is more accurate compared to other forms of tonometry for glaucoma patients. Then the other test is a pachymeter or pachymetry, also known as central corneal thickness. This measures the thickness of the cornea. And as I said earlier also, that corneal thickness plays a role. We may miss glaucoma because of thin corneas, and sometimes we may, patients who have thick corneas, they are prone to get overdiagnosed with glaucoma because their pressures are always on the higher side. Then the other test is a perimetry. Perimetry or the visual field charting. This is used to find out the damage that has happened to your field of vision. And not only for glaucoma, it is used for testing other types of field losses. Maybe neurological field loss or post-trauma or, sorry, after a stroke or in retinal damage also. We use this test, and this is the gold standard actually, because this helps us in diagnosing the glaucomatous field defect and also in assessing the progression of the disease. So what are the things we can do to control the vision loss because of glaucoma? So you have to understand that whatever vision is lost by glaucoma cannot be regained. And the objective of the treatment is to stop or slow down the progression. So we have to stop the further loss of vision. We cannot regain the vision that is already lost. So that is the importance of all these awareness programs and teaching programs, to make the public aware that this disease is unforgiving. And early detection of glaucoma is the key to limit the progress of glaucoma. So if you are like 40 years or more of age, you should get a regular checkup at least once a year. And all the glaucoma patients and suspects, they are, we call them for a follow-up, say every 3 months or 6 months, depending upon the severity of the involvement. And once you are diagnosed with glaucoma, you must follow your doctor's advice and the treatment schedule. Now, what treatment options do we have for glaucoma? The treatment aims at reducing the intraocular pressure. And how do we do that? We can do it with the help of either medicines or by surgical methods or by laser therapy. So medicines are always the first choice of treatment in glaucoma patients. The patients who do not do well on medicines, or they have some allergies or intolerance to medicines, or the pressures are still uncontrolled with all types of medicines, we then take them up for surgery. So only when the treatment fails and the pressure is not in control, we go for the surgical modality. Now, in the medicines that we are using, there is a group of medicines that decreases the production of aqueous, that is the formation of liquid inside the eye is reduced. And there are different groups of medicines like beta blockers, alpha agonists, and carbonic anhydrase inhibitors. Then there's another group where they increase the outflow or the drainage of the liquid from inside the eye. So to this group belongs the prostaglandin analog. And the other method is surgery. Now we have some laser treatment options also available for glaucoma, and this includes the laser iridotomy, or you must have heard or seen this YAG-PI term being used or written. So this YAG-PI or the laser PI, it is done with a YAG laser, and what we do here, we make a hole in the peripheral part of the iris. The reason being, these patients, they have narrow angles, and the patient, they have narrow angles, and there is a blockage at the level of pupillary area, and which further increases the further closes down the angle. So we make an opening through the laser in the periphery, and this opens up some space, creates some space for the flow of the aqueous from the behind the iris into the front part of the eye. And this iridectomy can be done through a surgical method also, like in this case, and but laser is more convenient, and it is an OPD procedure, so we prefer a laser iridotomy in such patients. Then other surgical, the laser methods are selective laser trabeculoplasty, or the SLT. Here the laser energy is applied to the drainage tissue of the eye, and this is the trabecular meshwork, what we see in the angle, and it is done with the help of a lens. And with this laser energy, there are some chemical and biological changes in the tissue, which cause a stretching of the beams of the trabecular meshwork, and they allow for a better drainage of fluid from inside the eye. And it helps in lowering of intraocular pressure. Then the surgical methods are trabeculectomy, which is the most commonly used surgery for glaucoma. And here what we do, we create a fistula we create a small cut or a fistula kind of thing, which connects the this inside of the eye or the anterior chamber to the subscleral space over here. And this helps in drainage of the aqueous from the eye. And this aqueous collects here in the form of a swelling or a bleb. We call it a bleb. And this is what is trabeculectomy. And it helps in lowering of intraocular pressure. Then there are some drainage devices, and it is another option to use, drainage devices or shunts. They provide an alternative route or channel for the drainage of the aqueous humor from inside the eye. There are different types of shunts, we have this glaucoma valves or the, sorry, AGV or the Ahmed glaucoma valve. Then there are other types of tubes also, which are non-valve devices also available. Then there are some micro-incision glaucoma surgeries are being done, which are more popular in the Western world actually. And they include eye stent and a CyPass or an express shunt. So what you need to know about glaucoma is if you are 40 years of age or more, if you are high myope, or you have any one suffering from glaucoma in your family, or if you have been on steroids for a long time, then you should get your eyes tested at least twice a year. And once you are diagnosed with glaucoma, you should stick to the prescribed medicines, which are advised by your doctor, and the regime, like the schedule twice daily or once daily, and the timings. So you should adhere to the prescribed medicines. Then get your periodic checkups done when your doctor advises you, and get your family members, that means your blood relations, screened for glaucoma. So, and you can also help in spreading the awareness about glaucoma by informing others about the risk factors and the vision loss caused by the disease. And remember, the lost vision cannot be regained in glaucoma, but the further loss can be stopped. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.